Hey, this is Senator Justin Reedy coming to you from Annapolis. We're ending the 12th week of the 2025 General Assembly session. We have, after today, a week and one more day to go. This has been a very trying and difficult session in a lot of ways because the state is in serious financial trouble of its own making, largely. And unfortunately, despite the fact that we've been able, Senate Republicans, House Republicans working together, even getting some help from a few of our Democratic friends, we've been able to beat back some of the proposed tax increases that were very egregious. Things like the Amazon delivery tax and the estate death tax that was going to really harm a lot of folks. There was other taxes we've been able to beat back, but we still are facing down the barrel of a proposed budget that passed the House and now is in the Senate that would raise taxes by over $1.6 billion. It would be the largest combined tax increase in the state's history. And I've broken that down, some of what's in that tax package in the past. And they claim that the budget also will include about $2.5 billion in so-called cuts. But the overall budget is still basically larger than it was last year. So the idea that, yes, there have been some cuts, and frankly in the Senate, the Democratic leadership has taken some of the Republican suggestions about some things and put that as part of their budget, some cuts that we've suggested. But overall, the budget's still not really going down, and they're backfilling it with these tax increases. Today, Friday, on the Senate floor, the budget will come out, and the BRFA, which is the tandem bill where all the tax increases are and some other things are, will both come out of committee. They'll actually be laid over and delayed until Monday. And then Monday afternoon is when we will have really extensive floor discussion and debate and offer possible amendments to the state budget and BRFA. And our Senate Republicans, our goal, we've stated all along, we can balance this budget without raising taxes. We must do that. That is essential. And we are going to offer, we're going to put a vote in front of our colleagues to say, this is how we can do it. We can do it in a responsible, common sense way. Some of the cuts are not, some cuts I think are very common sense and relatively easy. Others will not be the funnest thing to vote to cut. But, we have to do what family budgets and business budgets do in tough times, and that's pare back and really look at what our priorities are and what our needs are versus our wants. And sometimes even in tough times have to look at things and say, well, I kind of need that, but it's not as much of a need as this other need. And unfortunately in Annapolis what happens is, sometimes in the Senate we've had some good cooperation when there's something that's like a want, not a need. But when it comes time to really cut things that sound good and help a little bit something, they can't cut. It's hard for them to cut that. And that's what we're putting on the floor to say we need to balance our budget with cuts, real cuts, against the overall growth of government. And so that's going to be, and then we will probably also be itemizing and looking at specific smaller issues and trying to draw that distinction and out of the budget as well. So that's going to be the big fight early next week. I do want to give you an update to this week. I had a little piece of positive news. As you know, and I've discussed on previous videos, I've worked for years to try to get the state to close what I think is basically a loophole in our firearm laws. I'm a strong Second Amendment supporter, and it's always angered me that the General Assembly, we have year after year, these sort of liberal groups will come down and try to make it harder and harder for law-abiding citizens to own, carry firearms, and things of that nature. But we had this thing where you could steal a firearm or be possessing and trafficking a stolen firearm and it not be treated as anything different than if you stole like a TV or stole some clothing or a piece of furniture that was less than $1,500. So finally, my bill, my standalone bill is not passing, but they put that provision into another bill that passed the Senate floor and has passed the House floor. It's a House bill and Senate bill together. They're both going to pass and go to the governor. As usual, it's a hodgepodge of stuff in the bill. So there's some stuff in the bill that I didn't like and some that I did, but at least we did get that provision that will now finally become law to make theft of a firearm and trafficking in stolen firearms a felony, which is a good thing, and it's something that I've worked on for a long time. And then finally this week on the MPRP issue in our community, the real issue is now it's going to go before the Public Service Commission for them to do a long series of hearings, evaluations on the application from the utility, PSEG, to build this terrible 70-mile transmission line. But we got some good news this week. Part of that process to go before the Public Service Commission, the PSC, is the utility. Any project that gets put before the PSC has to go through regulatory review with several state agencies. One of those state agencies, DNR, Department of Natural Resources, failed their application, failed the PSEG application, or said you have not met some criteria that are needed, and had rejected it and sent it back to them. Now, PSEG has the ability to correct that and resubmit, but they are actually disputing that they failed the standard that DNR has. I won't get way in the weeds on it, but they're disputing that. So that's actually delaying their ability to go before the PSC for a little longer. I think delay is a good thing. Time is our friend. I'm still, despite the fact that some of our legislation this session has not moved, this delay may help us to be able to still be able to come back next session and keep working on some of the issues that we want to champion and try to help on the issue of transmission lines, eminent domain, MPRP. So that was a positive development, that it's more delay, which is good. I mean, we would love to kill the thing and have it be gone, but delay is our friend. And so that was a positive update on MPRP. There's a lot more I could talk about. We're in the busiest time of session is really now through next week. And then the following Monday, we'll be going through midnight on what's called sine die. I'll talk about that maybe in next week's video. I appreciate the opportunity to serve you. I look forward to hearing from you. Please send me any questions or concerns that you have, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks a lot.